Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to attend our UCaaS One SMB webinar. We're going to focus on moving from traditional SIP into next-gen communications and how what that entire journey looks like, some of the features and benefits that you're going to be able to reap from that, especially in the new work from anywhere paradigm that we all live in this new normal. My name is Michael Hawkins. I'm the Director of Solutions Engineering and Product Marketing for BCM. Happy to be a part of this today. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the question and answer box at the bottom of the screen. And Jessica's watching for those as they come in. If they're relevant to what we're talking about, we'll hit them immediately. If not, we will make sure that we circle back and hit those at the end of the webinar. Darren, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everybody. I'm Darren Gallo. I'm the Senior UCaaS Architect here at BCM One. I'm relatively new, been with the company for about 3 months, working on their SMB product, heading that up, productizing it, and demoing it today for you folks. So,
excellent.
Welcome to the webinar.
Thanks, Darren. So with that, we'll get started. We're going to do a small amount of PowerPoint at the beginning, and then we're going to dive into some of the actual features where Darren's going to go into a live demo so you can see how the product works and some of the advantages that you might be able to take back to your business. So the goal for today is to give you an overview on the UCaaS One SMB product, talk about some of the next-gen communication and collaboration features, some of the competitive differentiators that we have, versus some of the other products that are out there on the market. And then the BCM One difference, which I think is a huge part that we're going to key in on, as well as the differences between the current environment that you live in, which is that traditional SIP, versus the new UCaaS One SMB features. After we're done with this small PowerPoint portion, we'll dive into the live demo where Darren's going to go through some of the most commonly used features so you can see those in a live setting and format. So UCaaS One SMB overview, the idea behind this product, its inception, its creation, was to create something that gave businesses the ability to utilize all of the things that they're asking for that the traditional PBXs struggle with. When we look back to when the pandemic started, we noticed a lot of people were struggling with their on-prem PBXs to try to have those accommodate that work from anywhere user. It's just something that they weren't necessarily built for. The mobile and desktop clients, or that usability outside of the four walls of the office, was never really forefront in their minds when it was designed. In complete contrast to that, the UCaaS One product allows you to access all of the features of your phone system in a all-in-one solution with the full functionality from any location, regardless of where you are across the country or even across the globe. So part of the design behind this was to be able to create an all-in-one solution that gave most customers just about everything that they were looking for without having to worry about a whole bunch of additional add-on costs or making it a really complex decision on, will I use this feature or will I not? So as we kind of go through this, you're going to find that the most commonly used things, such as integration with Teams, mobile and desktop clients, SMS, email, fax to email, all of these features are supported within the product inside of a single pane of glass, creating a really unique and intuitive feel. I remember when I first logged into the product, looking at it from right off the bat, I was able to know where I was going without any kind of training. I found that to be a unique experience in contrast to some of the other collaboration software that's out there, where it feels like you need actually a webinar to just even learn how to use it. Jared, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that interface, but that was something that really struck me right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I can't agree anymore. The first time I saw it, never seen it before either. The first time I got in there without any training, I felt very comfortable moving around, very user-friendly, very intuitive. Again, wasn't overwhelming. I didn't feel like I needed to be super technical to understand what it was doing. And again, in my demo, you'll actually see some of those features, how easy to use.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. And then one thing, excuse me for clearing my throat there. One thing that I want to stress in this webinar, even though the product is named UCaaS One SMB, it's more of a reference to the feature set and the functionality within the product rather than number of users that it can accommodate. As you can see down there at the bottom, we're able to do up to 10,000 users per instance, which is going to give us the ability to service just about any size company that's looking for that streamlined solution. So with that said, some of the most common features and issues that our customers and partners are facing is the ability to support that remote and mobile workforce. So you can actually access the full functionality of your phone system from any web browser. There's a built-in desktop client as well as a mobile app. Darren's going to go through some of those and show you the full experience, and I'll try and highlight some of these key features that he's going to go over. The other thing that it's going to really do is improve your collaboration and productivity. Whereas before your PBX was just your phone system, now you can chat with coworkers, you can do SMS and MMS, e-faxing. If you've got call center applications, such as an internal help desk, or even a group of customer-facing customer service representatives, we're able to take those in and still provide that single pane of glass experience, as well as integrate with over 120 different of the most popular customer relationship management software that's out there. So hopefully by the time we're done, you'll be able to understand ways that you can improve how your teams engage with each other and even with your own customers. The second or the third piece in this kind of four-pillar approach is the unparalleled services or service that accompanies the BCM One product sets. Having been and worn multiple hats throughout this industry, it's very easy to go in and sell just about anything that you would like to anyone. But it really comes down to what is it like for the customer to live with that in a day two type scenario? It's more about the sales than just the sales cycle for BCM. We really invest in your success because we're committed to delivering those best possible outcomes for you and exceeding your expectations. And we'll go in into a little bit of how by stacking the BCM One products within our portfolio, we can gain an unprecedented level of visibility and troubleshooting that will allow us to identify and quickly remediate any issues should we find some. And then the last piece is, this was designed from the ground up with security in mind. So we do have the ability to meet all of the HIPAA compliance, the seal of compliance, which means that you get a very high level of security, even if that's not a regulatory or compliance requirement for your organization. So some of the top features that we're going to hit on today are going to be the ones that I've mentioned. That'll be SMS, so texting back and forth between your mobile client, your desktop, and a user's cell phone. MMS, being able to do pictures and videos in that same format to any of your customers or internal resources phones. The ability to fax to email, use fax from your mobile app, etc. And then the call tracing, which is a kind of a technical piece. I wouldn't even really call it a feature. But I love it when Darren highlights this because it shows you the level of visibility that we have and how deep we're able to go to figure out where problems are occurring to make sure that we can rectify those as quickly as possible. The ability to do screen shares, audio and video conferencing, the integration with CRMs, voicemail to email transcription. So in addition to just sending a WAV file to you that you can listen to, we're going to parse that voicemail message for you and create a transcript that we put in the subject or the actual body of the email. The ability to use Teams integration. I know during the pandemic, Teams really became a de facto standard for a lot of organizations to be able to communicate and collaborate between not only their customers, but especially internally. And being able to take the brains or the back end of this system and marry it with a front end interface that people are already familiar with is sort of the best of both worlds. When you make a change like that, it's something of a panacea because you gain a ton of features and functionality, yet to the end users, there's really no difference except for the ability to be able to place a call across the normal public telephone switch network. So some of the competitive differentiators that we've said, or that we have within the product set, is the fact that it really is an intuitive and easy to use interface. I've got a little sample screenshot over here on the right, which gives you the ability to kind of see this. And Darren's going to dive into each one of those things across the top and kind of show us some of the most commonly used features. One piece that I absolutely love about the product, because I've found it to be useful in a real world scenario, is you can access your phone system from anywhere. You're no longer restricted to those four walls of the business. Anywhere that you have an internet connection and any kind of a device that allows you to get out to the internet on a browser, we're going to have the ability to support that. You'll be able to access the full functionality of your phone system, even within just a browser. I really enjoy that and had the opportunity to test that out at a friend's house. They had a computer. I went to the website. I logged in. I was able to place a phone call. They were just using a little DSL modem, but it was able to handle it swimmingly. So again, it scales up to 10,000 users. So it's truly hard to outgrow. So there's no need to worry about outgrowing that product or your business consuming anything or growing too fast for us to keep up, I should say.
Yep. One thing I'd just jump in there, Mike, to add on to that is we also have multi-factor authentication. So in the sense that Mike was saying, if we had that enabled, when Mike went to his friend's house to use the phone, what would happen if he had the multi-factor authentication enabled? A little blip would come up because it'd be a new IP address that he's about to use from that phone. And it would go to the admin, and then you would just have to accept that. And then that would be an extra layer of security that we also offer.
Beautiful. Great point too. And that really feeds back into the previous slide on that HIPAA compliance and security being built into this from the ground up.
Yep.
And then the last point is, this is not a point solution. It's part of a holistic approach that BCM takes as to what we call the BCM One difference. And we're going to highlight some of those pieces. So that falls perfectly, overzealous mouse, giving away the secrets before we're there. One of the things that I think is important to understand is BCM does not sell point solutions. While we offer point solutions that cover a specific or fit a specific need for our customers, we really, really love it when they consume multiple products. And the reason why is for exactly what I alluded to before. It just gives us an unprecedented level of visibility and troubleshooting. So let's kind of walk through a real world example of that. Let's say, for instance, I've got my voice through a particular provider. I won't use any competitors' names, but we'll just say a UCaaS provider. I'll pick on some of the circuit carriers. Let's say you've got a circuit through AT&T and one through Comcast. You've got an in-house SD-WAN or managed router type scenario that internal IT resources are administering for you. If you start having voice call quality issues, who exactly do you go to when you're experiencing that? You know, I can speak with some level of authority on this, having been an administrator, having lived in that world. It's very frustrating to call up your UCaaS provider and they say, nope, I don't see any issues. Everything's fine on my side. All the other 14,000 clients are doing just fine. You call up your AT&T circuit provider. Of course, AT&T is going to say, oh, the circuit's up. I don't see any issues. You talk with your internal IT teams, try and figure out, were changes made? Did we do any configurations that are different? What's different from today versus yesterday? And of course, their answer is, it would have been my answer too, no, we haven't done anything. It can't possibly be our fault. So I've spent, probably the better part of an hour at least contacting all these different resources, and I'm no closer to figuring out what the root cause of my issue is, and more importantly, restoring that service for my internal customers or for my business. So as you'll note down here in the corner, a lot of the stuff that we do, it involves managed connectivity. We're able to take in information and statistics to be able to say, is it the service provider is it the internet service provider that's experiencing an issue? And rather than just asking them, because of the statistics that we collect, because of the information that we're collecting and aggregating into our VitalView platform, it gives us the ability to present that internet provider with empirical evidence that says, this is your fault, instead of asking them, are you experiencing any issues? The same thing applies with our UCaaS SMB solution. As Darren's going to go through some of the call tracing, we have the ability to get down to that nth level of degree and figure out exactly where that problem is occurring. And anytime that you have managed SD-WAN, circuits, or routers, we're also going to be able to pull in that information to really complete all the pieces of the puzzle necessary to put this into a single point of contact, a single source, a single contract, a single invoice, and really provide that next level of troubleshooting. As I've mentioned before, this is more than just the sale to us. It's about living with the product. BCM maintains an unbelievable net promoter score of 89.1. I won't list what the competition is, but I'll encourage you to go out there and do a quick web search for Comcast's net promoter score. And you'll be astounded at the difference between theirs and an almost 90% score on our side. And the reason why we're able to have such a high level score is because when our customers combine those products, it truly does give us an unfair advantage over the competition because of exactly what I said, that level of visibility and troubleshooting. One thing that we did from the BCM One perspective is we looked at this product more than just from the technology side. We wanted to make sure that the entire experience was cultivated to provide the best possible scenario for success for all of your businesses. So within signing a contract, you'll be contacted within 3 days after that signature. That's just so that someone can reach out to you and let you know, this is the process that we're going to go through, start beginning to uncover how we'd like the system programmed, how we'd like it to be configured. And then we made sure that I think one of the hardest parts of doing a technology conversion or a technology switch is that time frame between the contract and when you actually get to play with your new toys. It's nice to know that you're going to get all these things, but more importantly, it's equally as important, I should say, to know when you're going to get these new things. So any users, 20 users and under, we've set up service level agreements to say that we'll have these installed in 20 days or less. Anything from 21 to 99 users, we can install in 30 days or less. The discrepancy on those two pieces right there really comes down to a lot of the porting process. For a lot of you on the phone, that may not be an issue, especially if you're already consuming those Next Vortex SIP services as they live within our purview already. And then the last piece would be, for those larger organizations that have 100 plus users, we wanted to create a very customized experience. So those will be run on an individual case basis and have a project director assigned to create a full project plan and make sure that everyone's expectations are lined up and that we're delivering the service when you need it, as you need it. So the last piece that I really wanted to hit in on before we turn it over to the live demo portion is this migration process has been tuned. We've run through a bunch of test customers to help understand any pitfalls that we might have documented those and then corrected them to ensure that that migration for you is quick and as painless as you can possibly be. By using our resources that we have as far as dedicated account managers, dedicated project directors, and an entire provisioning team that does nothing but this product, it really gives us the opportunity to tune that experience for you and make sure that we're delivering the services that you want, as you want them, and how you want them. The other bonus is here, no more PBX maintenance contracts. If you've got an on-prem system that you're using right now, I'm sure that you're familiar with that game. And there's more to the cost of a PBX than just the underlying SIP trunking that runs it. By being able to remove that from your budget, it helps free that up for other resources and other projects that you might have. Based on the way that we've designed the product and the features that are automatically included with it, not to mention those dedicated project directors and provisioners again, there's really truly minimal effort for the IT staff. We'll walk you through an interview process that will help you understand how your business uses the phones, how they operate, and then introduce you to those new features with creative and inventive solutions or ways to use those new features and functionality within your own organization. Another big piece of this is there's no on-site infrastructure. So you no longer have to worry about maintaining a data center that's got UPS or some kind of a generator backup to make sure that you're able to support your users from a voice perspective. All of this lives in multiple places within the cloud at multiple different POPs within our infrastructure, and really takes that onus off of that internal IT staff so that you don't have to worry about those types of scenarios anymore. Loss of power was always a tough one, especially for those on-prem PBXs. And then lastly, this has got enhanced work from anywhere capabilities. As we've mentioned, you can access this from a browser, from a mobile phone, from your desktop, or you can use a traditional phone, as I know my friend Darren is so attuned to doing for many years. He's a huge fan of the traditional phone experience. So with that said, I don't want to bore you to death on PowerPoints. Let's go ahead and kick over to the live demo portion, and we'll take a look at some of the questions and answers that we've got there. Darren, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Fantastic.
And Darren, before you get started, we've got
Sure.
one question.
Yeah, I saw that already.
Okay, excellent. Do you want to hit on that?
Yeah, I'll answer that first. This is for David Bellamy. He says, we use a lot of intercom, broadcast and station to station on our PBX. Will we have this feature? First answer is yes. And then follow up, there's no marginal cost to have an extension in the boiler room with a PBX. When we last considered cloud, that was an issue. So I guess we would call that our common area.
That's what it sounds like. And we can always follow up to make sure. But yeah, we would have the ability, and we've even got phones that can operate wirelessly now. So they need to do an actual physical Cat 5, Cat 6 cable run. As long as they can get a Wi-Fi signal, because the brains of the system live in the cloud, as long as we're able to pass packets, we can pass voice.
Yep, absolutely. And to answer the first question, yes, we can intercom through the phones and station to station.
Beautiful. Thanks, Darren.
Yep, you got it. No worries. Okay, so we're in here now. This is the end user experience. I have the cell phone up as well, my mobile app. As you can see, it mirrors pretty much the desktop app. And from the mobile app, you can pretty much do exactly what you can do from the desktop app. So from here, if you just wanted to, make a call, you would just put in the number that you're going to dial to and, click enter and make that call and just hit start. If you had messages from there, they would just be down here and you can start those as well. So
what kind of messages are those? Are those like internal or are those SMS?
These are internal SMS messages, but you can do external as well. So just going out to like a cell phone, there you go.
Nice.
So you get those MMS and SMS. Yep. So again, this is all from your cell phone. As well as one of the neatest things from the cell phone is sending a fax. So it's literally over here on the PBX. I'm down here on the bottom. I click PBX. I clicked on these three little dots right here. And then I go to send fax. I put in the number of the fax that I'm going to send it to, 818-5593. I'm now going to choose a file. And then you
simply cool. And it looks like you could take a picture of that and send it directly as well, too.
That's correct. If you want to send it as an image, you can do that as well. Absolutely. Now, as you saw, my fax was in queue. And then it would send that out. And then when we get faxes, I have mine set to email. They will look like this. So right here, your fax comes in. This was from the cell phone, and then it looks like that. That's the actual file you're getting. And you can also send faxes from your email, and that would be at that number at fax.instafax.com. And that's how you can send them from your email as well. Yep. And actually, this was the other fax I had just sent just now. So again, comes through clean, it's great, and that's all done through the mobile app, which is very, very powerful. Yep. Going back over here, back to our screen and bringing back the mobile app. back into our PBX side, you can also, one of my great things that I love is coming here and I can move my call seamlessly from my desk. If I had to leave right now to go on the road, I can simply click this right here, move call here, and now take the call on the road on my mobile app. And seamlessly, nobody would know if I was on a call that I even moved and got up from my phone, from my desk rather, and took the call. So those are pretty much it from the mobile app, the big features. You can also get your emails. There's all your contacts. You can sync it with your address book if you want. And your call history. And that's it from the mobile app. Going now over to the end user's desktop app. As you can see, the same thing. If I wanted to send an SMS, I would just send in the number first. I would hit enter. And now I can start an SMS or MMS message. Now, one thing to remember, when you first send a first message to an end user, they will get this message on their phone. I could not deliver it until they actually opt in. It's more of a security feature. I'm sure you've probably seen this before on other texting. Once they type start, I must send that test message again so they get the original message. And if they wanted to opt out, they would just type stop. And now they would no longer receive text messages from us. The other thing great about this is they're getting this from their business telephone number, not their personal phone number. Same thing from the mobile app. If you send anything from the mobile app, it's coming from your business phone number, not your personal cell phone number. Again, very, very huge.
Yeah, I think that is huge. I'd like to key in on that for just a second because there's a real world example that we had of a customer who did commercial landscaping, and they had a relatively transient workforce. So, very seasonal type workforce. And about every season, they'd turn over 60, almost 70% of their staff. They were using cell phones before, and typically they would go to the competition. So when the season came up and it's time for the football fields, the golf courses to start doing their lawn care again, they would call that individual cell phone number. And that resulted in typically a call to the competition as that person had already left the workforce. When we introduced the UCaaS solution to them, they were able to have their salespeople use an office number that then automatically went back to them. So that was the number the customer was used to calling. And it really helped reduce their churn rate of customers and the effort that it took just to maintain their current portfolio of business. So I can't say enough good things about that call mask. Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, good point. Real quick, Timothy Roykoff asked a quick question. I just want to touch on that real quick. Is there support for group texting from a desktop? There is, and it's actually in beta right now. We're putting together something which is a really, really cool feature and has some really cool functionality, and it does exactly what you're talking about. And that should be released, I believe, Q3, I believe, Mike. I'm talking about the cloud message. Yep, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes. Yep, Timothy, we will have that, and it can even do a lot more really cool things like campaign drips, blast emails if you want to send out to a group of people, some really, really neat things we can do.
You can even do things like auto responses and confirmations and stuff in there as well.
Absolutely. To what Mike's talking about, if you had sent a reply text to that number and you said, what are your hours? What are your support hours? You can have it text sent back automated. That would pick up those keywords. What are your support hours? And send back exactly that. Support hours are Monday through Friday, yada, yada, yada. Some really, really powerful stuff. That's really neat that we can show you. But again, it's coming. And then is Church Community Builder, CCB, in the list or CRMs you have interface with? I'm not sure, but we can check that. And we also have an API that we could utilize that if Church Community Builder has an open API on their end, Timothy, that's something that maybe we could look at. But again, that's getting a little bit more involved, and they're going to need a developer on their end to help work with our development team or professional service.
Excellent. And I just did a quick search while you were chatting there. I don't see the Church Community Builder in there, but to your point, we've got other ways around that.
Yep. Awesome. So that was the texting and MMS. Just going into faxing real quick again. I know we touched on the email, but I wanted to show you also it comes with a portal. inside, again, under that one pane of glass, as Mike alluded. So you don't have to do it from email if you don't want to. It's your choice. You could do it from the portal right here built in. Simply click it, send fax. And again, as we've been mentioning, how intuitive, how easy it is to use. Look, it's very simple. Do you want a cover page? Okay. If you don't even put one. What's the document? Browse your files, find the document, put it there. You're going to put the caller ID if you want to as a return number, and then the destination of the number you're going to, and then simply hit send. It's that simple. And then from there, you could also see ones that have been sent. Again, if you're using this, I'm using my email, so there's none there. Yep. The call trace, which was really cool, what Mike had brought up. Let's take a look at that. So if Mike was talking about that one use case scenario, hey, you know, I've gotten a lot of jitter, call quality issues, drop calls. It's just not good. You contact AT&T, they say, hey, everything's great. Everything looks great here. You contact your phone company. They're like, nope, all of our other 10,000 customers, no one's reported that. We don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so this eliminates that finger pointing. You come into the reporting tab right here. You get the to and from number and the time that call was placed, and you'll simply click this trace button. And this is going to give us a SIP flow of the entire call that took place. So what we can do now is download this SIP trace and send it into our support. And our engineers can now dive into that granularly and distinguish where the actual trouble came in. They can say, oh my God, once this loads, you will be able to see coming from this IP address, whether that's your WAN IP or the ISP's IP, we can granularly get down to that and say, yeah, we found it immediately. So if it is from the ISP, we can go back to them and say, hey, it's right here. We've got it, and send it to them and work with their engineers and say, hey, we need to fix this. This is causing an issue. Or if it is on our end, we could say, oh yeah, we do see that this route was really bad, and we can address that properly by moving the route or taking proper precautions.
And Darren, I thought this was really unique. I haven't seen this level of visibility presented to an end user in other systems. I know that you have a depth and breadth of experience within this area. Have you seen that in other systems or feature parity in that regard?
I have not from the user perspective. I've seen it where from a command line, like if you're very technical and you can run some command line stuff, I've seen it there, but never, Mike, in this way where, you know, you have access that easy.
I love it.
Yeah, it's very huge. And again, you don't need to be technical. You just need to download it and then click right here, download the CSV, and then you send it into our support. Our support is 365, 24/7, email, chat, and phone. So again, very, very huge. We have audio, video, and screen share. So with that, we would be right here. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That would be right here under meeting. As you can see from here, you would just either start a meeting. And from here, you would give it a name, description. This would, you could do a conference or a webinar, up to 200 people. You could have up to 25. You're just doing a conference. You can enable chat. You can host can edit meeting. You require passcode for some security options. And then you have some other options here as well. And again, this is all included, all under one pane of glass. As you guys saw, I did not leave here. I just clicked on apps and then opened it from there. And again, this would be your video conferencing, audio conferencing, and screen share from here. You can also schedule one if you'd like as well, with some more options. So that's our meetings and analytics. Also, too, you do have a conference bridge for each person if they'd like to set those up. You would just come here. Now, each person would need their own DID, a separate DID from their extension DID. And then again, you just come over here to add conference, give it their name, dedicated or owned. By the way, you could do a owned conference where you can share it with like a sales team, a billing team, the IT team, so they can all share one conference bridge. Give it an extension. You can give it a site name if you'd like, the phone number. You can add a PIN for security, a participant PIN for even more security, meaning if you gave that number out to a bunch of people and randomly somebody got that number by accident, if they didn't have the PIN, they would not be able to enter the conference. The participants is great. You can have unlimited or up to 99 or anything in between. Unlimited is huge. I never really seen that before. There's normally a constriction there. And then minimum participants to start, you could have And then some other options here: require a leader to start, announce particular arrivals, departures, and prompt all participants for their name. So that is the audio conference if you just wanted to use an audio conference bridge. We do have, going into the CRMs, the ones that Mike had already checked for you for that community one. Thank you for that, Mike, the community church. But what will happen is you'll come here and you'll see them all from the drop-down list once you actually download the UC connector, which is right here. This would be the Reach UC connector. You would download that. And then once you do that, you would again get this view. Now, one other thing we have that's just really cool is we have a search so that you can search for the CRMs as well. So I just did one earlier for you. As we were waiting, I put in Salesforce, and it literally will go through everything that it can do. The supported features, you know what I mean? If you were to use this natively integrated. And as well as down here, it gives you actually a little video on how to actually integrate the video, the Salesforce with SMB, which is awesome. And one other quick last thing, touching on that, is our API. And that would be this one right here. So again, if you wanted to use that church, I'm sorry, the church CRM one you had mentioned, what we could do is, again, if they have an open API on their end, you could come in here with a developer and try and develop something with our open API, which is huge.
That is huge. Again, that's goes back to that unprecedented level of openness and visibility. We're really exposing how everything works to the nth degree.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Yep.
Darren, we had another question pop up.
Yep.
Is inbound fax just their own UCaaS number, or is that a separate number, or can you do it either way?
So that would be, when you say your own UCaaS number, I'm assuming that meant like you can port it. So if you had an existing UCaaS number with another company, you could port that or create just a new DID. Yes, you can purchase another telephone number and make that a fax number where you can turn it into a fax.
And I think maybe what they were asking was, is that a separate number? So the number that I make my phone calls with?
Yes, it is correct. So you would have a separate number for fax and a separate number for your extension. Thank you for clarifying. Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Same thing with the audio bridge. It would be a separate number. It's not the same number as your extension. So you would have 3 numbers in that scenario: fax number, conference bridge number, extension number.
Excellent.
Yep. Awesome. Good. Great questions. Keep them coming. We do have Teams integration. And then also, before we get into that, I wanted to show you can also bring your own phone. So if we go over here to our inventory and go to phone hardware, we do have the option of adding your own phone and a very massive list of phones. So there's we support pretty much everything out there, pretty much. I mean, we just do. Again, we give it best effort. If it doesn't work at that point, after the best effort, then obviously we just suggest getting a supported phone that we have, and you know, it'll work. But yeah, that's it right there. That's where you add the phone. Again, look how simple it is. You pick the model, you put in the MAC address, and then you just put the line and then add it. It's that simple. And then you just reboot the phone.
And Darren, this may be a little off topic, but I think it's absolutely worth hitting on as long as you're willing to. But I remember you were showing me the system and I was blown away with the busy light functionality and seeing the actual model of the phone. Can you show that off? Because I think it really hits home.
Totally agree. So what Mike's talking about is, if I'm an admin and a user has bought a Yealink phone or whatever phone it is, what you can do is come in here under the phone hardware, and now I can manipulate the phone from the system. To Mike's point, I don't have to log into the GUI of the Yealink and be at that person's desk. I can do this remotely from anywhere in the world. So this is a picture of the phone literally on my desk, and I can now manipulate the BLF keys, call, park, speed dial, etc. These settings.
I love that feature.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's very huge. And then I set it. The phone doesn't even reboot on Yealinks. Polycoms would reboot, but again, the Polycom or Yealink would not. I would set this, hit save. And then if I was talking to Mike on the phone, I'd be like, Mike, did you notice the change? And he'd say, yes, my phone changed immediately. Very powerful stuff. It's huge.
I love it. Thanks for indulging me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent stuff. And then lastly, yes, we do have the Teams integration. And again, we just have it's called our Teams connector, and then we would just follow that for the Teams. There's actually even a better article, but we would go on that for Teams, and that works. It works really great. The last thing I just want to show you real quickly is our voicemail to email transcription. So if you have this set up as well, you get a voicemail that comes in. There it is, the transcription. And you can download it, forward it, and do whatever else you would want with it at that point. It also has the caller ID as well, where it came from.
And I think that's one of the neater features that's enhanced my life personally. I don't think I've listened to a voicemail in the better part of a year. I can now glance at it, know what the person wants, and just call them back without having to do that whole dance.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And if you just wanted to get your voicemails at your desk, you can do that as well from here on the desktop. You could have them, you know, traditionally still there.
And I get those on my physical phone too, correct?
Absolutely, yes. You will get them on your physical phone. What will happen is you'll show a little 1 right here under the voicemail envelope. Same thing on the mobile app. There'll be a little 1 there, and you can retrieve it from there if you'd like. Yep.
So we've got a couple more questions out here. Can you go a little bit deeper into the Teams integration portion, kind of what that process looks like, the experience there? I mean, I can speak to it at a high level, just saying, you know, tying the systems together on the back end between the UCaaS and the Microsoft tenant. It's a relatively easy process. Darren, you've personally done it, so I'll lean on your experience.
Yeah, exactly it. I mean, I followed that, what I showed you guys there earlier in the wiki. I just followed this. But I mean, we could send you guys articles on this as well. We have a pretty good article about this. I actually thought I had another. I have a one pager on this that can be very helpful as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, and we can send it out to everybody. Absolutely.
And then I think one of the other questions, this goes back into the PBX side, but do we have an easy interface to be able to set up an auto attendant, or do you need like someone who knows how to program the system and go to the nth degree?
Yep. Nope. We got an easy way for that. Coming back into here, we go to the auto attendant. And this is it. You would just start from here, add auto attendant. You give it a name, extension if you want, site name, and then the time frame. And then once you build it, you come in here and then edit it. So you have options of editing it this way. This is one of my favorite parts of the auto attendant. You do not need a developer, because what you can do here is text to speech. I literally just wrote this out myself, and then they play it. You can even pick a different voice if you want. So this is really great, very intuitive, very easy to use. You can also upload an existing file, or if you have a really nice voice and you want to record something, you can record a voice as well, or record a message by calling your extension or calling a phone number. But again, to me, this is the biggest one, is the text to speech right there. And then I love it. Yep. And then you have your key press options, which everybody's aware of. You know, press 7 for this, press 4 for that. And these are where you can go to.
And it looks like it's got really easy to understand icons. So just at a glance, I can take a look and see, you know, for one, that's to transfer to a user. For two, it's voicemail, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. You got it. And then again, it's very intuitive. Once you click on it, what do you want to do? Where is it going to go? You know what I'm saying? What message do you want it to say? So
excellent.
Very ease of use. That's the biggest thing from this, as you and I mentioned from when we first got into the system.
And then, Darren, we've got one more question that's in the queue here. What's it like after the sales cycle? I know that I kind of referenced that up front, but what's it like to live with the product? What can customers expect from a support perspective, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, so if you needed support, I mean, obviously quickly, you could just click on the search right there, and that would give you our wiki. So you always have that right there. And then as well as support is right there. So you can go to learn, tickets, and chat. So you can, from a support stance, you always have them right there for you. And we'll also have the number for you as well, the toll-free number. But the way I look at it is I've been using this for about 3 months. I mean, it just works. It's pretty stable. I have had 0 issues with downtime. I've had 0 outages in 3 months. I have been a pretty heavy users. As you can see over here, I have 16 users. I have 9 registered devices, 27 total devices total. I do use it a lot. I make a lot of calls. I use a lot of sales situation calls, and it's just pretty stable. I have to admit, it is. It does what I need it to do. So from that aspect.
And I know you, Darren. I know you've beat up this system and really put it through its paces to the nth degree. So I put a lot of weight into that comment.
Yes, absolutely. And the mobile app, I use that a lot as well. When I even leave, I showed you guys that feature when I move call here. I do that all the time. And it's been fine. The only problems I ever find is if I'm out on a freeway somewhere far away and I'm at the mercy of 5G, LTE, or at wireless.
Sure, and I think that everyone struggles with that. If you look at AT&T's coverage map, they cover everywhere, right? But the reality is, your mileage may vary slightly.
Yep, exactly. Excellent. So yeah, that's pretty much it from a 50,000-foot view, Mike.
Awesome. Well, Darren, thanks. I appreciate you spending a little time and going through the live demo with us here just to show some of the most commonly used features and functionality. Highlighting how easy it is to actually use the system. I really love that auto attendant programming feature. The same way with those BLFs. The visual aids to me really make all the difference in the world when it comes to an end user like myself programming something versus a UCaaS architect like yourself. You probably can do this with your eyes closed, asleep. Those visual aids are huge for me.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I hope everybody benefits from this, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at BCM. We're happy to go into further discussions, have any kind of personalized demos that you'd like to see, and get you moved over to our new UCaaS One SMB product. Thanks everyone for attending. We're going to send out a recording. We'll have a recording of this posted and let you know where that link can be found as well. Thanks a lot, everyone, and have a great day.